Sacrament is changing. You can hear it on the wind as it whispers through the leaves of the tallest trees, shaking free morsels of truth that fall into the open arms of folks like you and me. We are deliberate, we are determined, we are devoted to the changing of times, hearts, battles, and minds. We seek them out, not to decide, but to drink, to sop up and indulge in what was, is, and will be. This is what is required. To glean past the obvious, the distractions and disjunctions in the way of the true golden delicacies carried to us by the wind. This is changes to No Rest for the Wicked, the breach, that probably weren't in the patch notes because they're too odd and obscure, but I didn't check because, dear God, who the hell is going to read all that when you could be playing this glorious game instead? You ready? Okay, let's begin. In my last report, I discussed the economics of Sacrament, and I postulated Sacrament must import significantly more goods than exports due to the lack of employed farmers, fishermen, and hunters. Well, it seems like Governor Ellsworth agrees and is making a notable effort to combat this pressing economic issue. The southeast corner of the city has undergone a massive expansion, including 3 sizable plots of farmland. This expansion more than triples Sacrament's potential crop output and provides a nice view of the city. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem as though many citizens have taken up the charge, but hopefully this will change in time. This expansion also restored access to the lowland meadows, which is of course one of Sacre's primary hunting grounds due to the thriving stag population.
Best thing to do would be to close this bridge for good.
Some of the citizens I've spoken to, however, would rather this gate remain shut, and given the sounds that creep over that mighty stone wall, it's hard not to agree. Despite this rather dour news, Sacrament has some new arrivals. When walking towards the Marin Woods, I bumped into this fine gentleman.
The Brambles want only what we all want, to live. Each one of God's creations is beautiful in its own.
True herbalist at heart, if I do say so myself. I'll have to remember him for my next enumeration. Our conversation was rudely interrupted by everyone who I can only describe as the imaginary friend lady, or Tiffle for short. Here, just take a listen.
Azalamaya, she's a big, orange, fluffy creature with purple stripes. And I think maybe antlers. What do you think?
Tear apart! This shit won't scrub itself!
I think, well, first of all, amen, brother. But second, she was dropped, wasn't she? Like as a baby? On the head? Anyways, moving on to the tavern, I found a whole slew of new folk to talk to. Reese and Squawk, my bad, happens to the best of us. I don't want to hear a single one of you calling me a speciesist down in the comments. I'm very curious to know how this particular pair ended up together. Perhaps Squawk fell from a tree at a young age, and no one heard his cries. No one besides Reese, who nursed him back to health. And since then, they've been the best of friends. Nope, of course not. A wholesome story on this godforsaken isle? Nah. Reese just found him in the forest and offered him some ale. To each their own, I guess. Speaking of ale, this gentleman over here might have had a bit too much. No, not that one. That one.
Big-hooded fella paid me a king's ransom to row him from his tall ship to some cave beneath the lowland meadows. Couldn't tell you why I didn't just dock in port, but I ain't the type to question easy coin. Made me take the long way round, too. Skirting ship graveyard like he was searching the wreckage for something. Anyway, think he wanted things kept, what's the word, clandestine. Lucky for him, these lips are welded shut.
Mr. Delfini appears to be an entrepreneur of sorts. His most recent job sounds like it involved the transport of a high-ranking government official, perhaps from Phelan? Very interesting. I'll make sure to report this to the proper authorities. And last but not least in the tavern is Lord Winnick. He's not new to Sacrament, of course, but it is nice to see one of his stature spending time with more ordinary citizens. Chef Gordon's restaurant has a new diner. Prolific landlord Doss, who used to spend most of his time in the upper levels of Sacrament, has graced us with his presence. Perhaps these trying times get even folks like him to stress eat. Making our way towards the slums, we find mostly familiar faces, including Tuvolt and his canine companion, Casper.
You wouldn't have a drop or two of it on you, would you?
Casper has rather miraculously undergone a metamorphosis. Not sure how he did it, but I think he's better off for it. I'll say though, there's something fishy about those two. I just can't put my finger on it. Near the Dasha shrine, Kova seems to have found her voice.
Dara, the risen warlord, was born in my own village. Long before he felled men, he felled logs in the Marin woods. But the woman he desired gave her heart to another. A mainlander, no less, with royal blood. Dara attacked the outsider. Spilled blood within the sanctity of Marin's Sovon circle. The fight only stopped when Honora shamed Dara by invoking the name of the Forsaken against him. She died many years later. I'm not sure how, but Dara never let it go.
Next to her, we have another newcomer. He is practicing a form of self-imposed banishment from Marin Village due to his fundamental beliefs being shaken by recent events.
No beauty left in the Marin woods. If there is a god, it's the Forsaken alone, calling us to our end. The others are just children's stories. If I don't believe, then I'm not Dasha. If I'm not Dasha, I have no place in Marin Village.
Sooner or later, all these heretics will see there is only one true god. Now, my report is nearing its end, but I have a round of quicker updates I'd like to get through first. It seems as though this squabbling couple has finally gathered the decency to stop spying on the back of Whitaker's abode. How nice of them. Nearby, the graveyard has undergone some minor renovations. Improvements have been made to Honora's statue and the northern barricade. Strangely though, it seems our builders decided to insert a rather large boulder here. Not sure why they did that, to be honest. On another note, has anyone else heard that singing? It's so... Where was I? The captain of the guard has improved his visual communication. I personally am in love with his new design choices. It's much more interesting to look at. Maybe my own visual communication will improve like this in the future. Hell, one of these days, perhaps even a fine surveyor of Phelan such as myself will take up one of these bounties. If only to see what the fuss is about. Finley seems to have undergone a change of wardrobe. How mysterious. If only he would sell items worth buying. Also, did this guy steal Finley's clothes? And hey, guess what? Sacrament's engineers have done wonders to the lifts of the city. As a man who frequently marches all over this place, a smoother ride is much appreciated. Oh, and one last thing. Has anyone else tried this? Ah, shit.